Long time no see, but the timeline has been acting up again, and it's got Jay-Z and 50 Cent right back in the spotlight. It went from 50 straight up roasting Jay over his style choices and image,
Big homie want to look like a gay painter.
to throwing slick comments that Jay's whole rise is tied to Beyonce's shine, and people online ate it up like it was a headline. Fifty's been poking at Jay for years, but now Jay is finally firing back, breaking that quiet mode with a clip that's got the internet replaying it on loop. And now everybody's calling it the Super Bowl scandal that almost wasn't, because the way this story is being told makes it sound way deeper than rap talk. Here's what's been low-key brewing in the hip-hop streets. This isn't just studio drama or who charted where energy. This is two heavyweight bosses with real influence, moving like it's chess. Boardrooms, business ties, and those quiet power plays that decide who gets the look, who gets the deal, and who ends up outside watching from the window. And what makes it extra spicy is this isn't some dusty late 90s beef people should have left with the old-fashioned trends. This is about something way more recent, and 50 is the one pushing it hard, saying Jay allegedly had behind-the-scenes influence that affected who did and didn't get certain big opportunities. Specifically, 50 has suggested Jay-Z was involved in keeping him off one of the biggest stages in the country, the Super Bowl halftime show. Think back to February 13th, 2022, Super Bowl 56 halftime show at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California. The culture was hyped because it was being framed as a historic moment for hip-hop. Dr. Dre, Snoop, Mary J. Blige, Kendrick. The lineup was stacked. The moment felt huge, and then out of nowhere, like a surprise drop from the early 2000s, 50 Cent popped up hanging upside down and hit that iconic pose people still talk about today. And now the internet's asking the messy question, if 50 still made it on stage, what exactly was allegedly happening behind the curtain? And that upside-down 50 moment had the whole internet on fire. Memes everywhere, throwback energy, people acting like it was 2003 again. But according to 50 himself, that legendary pop-out almost got cut, and the name he points to is Jay-Z. Now look at the power dynamics, because this is where it gets real outside the studio. Since 2019, Jay-Z's company, Roc Nation, has been partnered with the NFL to help run the Super Bowl halftime show. That means Jay allegedly has serious pull over the choices, who gets picked, how it's produced, and the whole creative vision. And that's why people take 50's claim seriously, even if you don't agree with it. Because if you control the pipeline to the biggest stage in American TV, your no can matter just as much as your yes. According to 50, Jay used that influence to try to keep him out the building. Not because of timing, not because of creative differences, but because he allegedly didn't want 50 anywhere near that performance.
Why do you think that is?
Well, I just think,
Threatened?
yeah,
Possibly?
not even threatened. You know, I think it's just when you take the competition from like our culture is competitive, man.
Right.
It is, but I think when it goes past the music itself to blocking things in business, then I don't understand.
50 says he laid all this out when he showed up on Cameron's show, Come Talk to Me, in December 2024, and he didn't tiptoe around it either. He claimed Jay went straight to Dr. Dre and told him he didn't want 50 involved, and that's where the story shifts from petty to personal, because the part 50 keeps highlighting is the loyalty angle with Eminem. That ride or die bond is serious, and the way 50 tells it, Eminem wasn't about to let him get pushed out like he didn't matter.
I mean, Jay, you know, you gotta remember, he didn't want 50 at the Super Bowl. That was crazy. Come on.
Wait, Jay didn't want 50 at the Super
You didn't
Bowl?
know that? Yeah, he didn't
Well,
want.
I remember Eminem pushed for it.
That was some hated. Yeah.
I remember
pushed for it,
Eminem
yeah.
was like, I'm not gonna do it unless 50.
So when you really sit with what 50 is accusing Jay-Z of, it's not small talk. He's basically saying Jay used a corporate position to block another artist's moment. And that's a heavy claim because it turns this into power, control, and what happens when old tension gets dragged into boardrooms. And if you think that's where it ends, nah, because the way this is unfolding, the plot only gets thicker from here. Because 50 also dropped this bomb. He says Eminem basically gave the NFL an ultimatum and said he wasn't performing unless 50 was included. And Tony Yayo, 50's Day One G-Unit family, backed that version up when he sat down with DJ Vlad. So the story got even louder fast. Really think about what that means for a second. One of the most hyped Super Bowl halftime shows ever almost lost Eminem, one of the biggest draws, a certified legend, all because 50 claims Jay-Z allegedly tried to keep him off that stage. That's not just petty beef talk anymore. That's business power. If you're messing with the lineup on the biggest night of the year, that can shake budgets, contracts, and the whole rollout, and it can make an entire organization look sloppy on live TV. 50 has been speculating on why Jay would go that hard to keep him out, and he brought it up in that July 2024 Hollywood Reporter interview. He said it straight, they wanted to leave me out of it. It was them fighting for me to stay out of it. He even added, it should be in the NFL paperwork now. And the line that had people clutching their phones was, Eminem is not performing. Then in October 2024, when 50 pulled up on The Breakfast Club, he doubled down again, saying Jay had blocked him. He also claimed at first they tried to pin it on the NFL to avoid any direct smoke. But 50 says he peeped the game, and people in the industry told him exactly where that resistance was coming from.
It goes past the music itself to blocking things in business, then I don't understand that. Like right now, he's not even competing for a slot. You don't have a new song out that he want to be on the top 10 or top 5, and you still competing. It just don't make sense. Like, what are we competing for?
So the big question is, what would make one of hip-hop's biggest bosses allegedly try to shut down another artist moment like that? According to 50, it comes down to the Super Bowl bag and straight competition. And he's saying that battle stretches way past music. 50 Cent has a theory for why this got so tense, and it's not just rap ego. He's been hinting that his huge success in TV production, especially the Power franchise on Starz, turned him into a real competitor to Jay-Z's entertainment moves. So in 50's mind, this isn't about who had the hottest 16 bars or the biggest first week numbers anymore. This is empires, market share, who controls the future of hip-hop business, and who gets to be the boss the industry listens to. And here's the part 50 keeps stressing. He claims the NFL took the public fall at first, but he believes the real call came from Roc Nation. Basically, the corporate shield was up, the plausible deniability was ready, and to the public, it looked like the league made the decision. But 50 says he wasn't fooled. He claims he knew exactly who was pulling the strings, and that's why he keeps pointing the finger at Jay-Z's side of the operation. What makes this even more explosive is Jay-Z hasn't publicly addressed it, not once. And you already know how the internet takes silence. Some fans treat it like a classy refusal to play into drama, while others treat it like, if it wasn't true, why not shut it down? Either way, the quiet has people talking. And the ripple effect got bigger. Around September 2024, Cameron and Mace were out here speculating that Jay-Z blocked Lil Wayne from performing at the 2025 Super Bowl because of old tension. And people instantly started drawing parallels to 50's story, like a pattern was forming in the public's mind. Now the conversation online is split right down the middle. One side is calling Jay-Z petty and labeling him a gatekeeper who allegedly abuses power. The other side defends Jay and says 50 has a long history of stirring stuff up, so this could just be another chapter in his trolling run. And the truth? It's probably somewhere in the complicated middle. Because here's what we do know. No official statement from the NFL, Roc Nation, or Jay.
There ain't never been no 50 Cent Jay-Z conversations, questioning whether there was a competition between the two of them. There's a huge difference in energy internationally in 50 Cent and Jay-Z. In fact, his largest selling record sold 430-something thousand copies. My largest selling records, plural, 2 of them sold 5 million.
Has publicly confirmed or denied 50's claims. So that leaves 50's narrative to dominate the whole discourse. And when official voices stay quiet while the story keeps growing, yeah, people notice, and they start reading between every single line. But if you really want to understand why this runs so deep, why Jay-Z would allegedly move that hard to keep 50 off the Super Bowl stage, you gotta rewind to the very beginning, the real origin story of this long rivalry. Because every big hip-hop clash has a how it started chapter, and the tension between Jay-Z and 50 traces back to a time when Curtis Jackson wasn't the TV power boss and brand mogul people know today. Back in 1999, he was a hungry rapper from Queens with a deal that wasn't popping, a stack of recorded songs sitting around, and not a lot of industry love coming his way. And instead of waiting for permission, 50 did what 50 always does. He made noise on purpose. He took inspiration from Just Playing, Dreams, but flipped the whole idea into a robbery fantasy theme, like a slick street story concept meant to shock people into paying attention. The result was How to Rob, where he name drops a ton of major artists and jokes about hitting them for their stuff. Pure controversy marketing. Not a real plan, just a loud record meant to ring alarms. And yeah, he didn't leave Jay-Z out of it. One of the lines fans still repeat goes like, "Jigga just sold like 4 mil. He got something to live for." And the rest of that bar gets quoted online in a way that turns it extra reckless.
He's a piece of work, man. He always put somebody in front of him. When Jada came for him, he put Beanie in front of him. And Beanie went back and forth with Jadakiss. When Cam came for him, he put True Life in front of him. And they went back and forth. And he just didn't compete.
So I'm keeping it clean here, but you get the point. It was bold, it was disrespectful, and it was designed to get attention fast. That song started moving like wildfire through DJ pools and mixtapes. People talk about it getting heavy spins on radio and in clubs, and suddenly everybody in hip-hop was talking about that kid from Queens who had the nerve to name drop over 40 names like it was a roll call. Most of the artists either laughed it off or ignored it, but Jay-Z didn't just let it slide, and his response basically locked in the dynamic between them for years. Jay moving like the untouchable boss, 50 moving like the guy who refuses to play polite. At Hot 97 Summer Jam in 1999, Jay delivered a freestyle that people still bring up, including the famous line, "I'm about $1. What's 50 cents?" Clean, dismissive, and sharp. Jay positioning himself as the real currency and reducing 50 to pocket change right in front of everybody.
Cool punk in hip hop. His presentation makes people decide to say,
Oh man.
you know, because he's big, and his take on it is bigger than the actual art form. He won't actually.
That line didn't just live in a freestyle. It later showed up on Somehow, Someway, Some Like It Hot from Vol. 3, Life and Times of S. Carter in December 1999, produced by Timbaland, and Jay was talking real slick on it. He's basically flexing like he's untouchable, and the message was, go against Jigga, you're done. Then he drops the famous money talk, "I'm about $1. What's 50 cents?" And 50 wasn't about to sit quietly and take that. In 2000, he came back with Be a Gentleman, and it wasn't friendly at all. It was a direct clapback where he questioned Jay's street image and tried to make him look like a brand, not the real deal. 50's angle was simple. Money and fame don't automatically equal respect. He mocked Jay's image and the way he carried himself, basically saying the industry hype doesn't mean you really run the streets like that. And you could feel the tension building like it was about to turn into a full-time war. But then life hit 50 in the worst way. On May 24th, 2000, 50 Cent was shot outside his grandmother's home in Queens and survived. But the aftermath changed everything because Columbia Records dropped him and his debut album, Power of the Dollar, got shelved, which slammed the brakes on the whole rivalry for a minute. For the next couple years, 50 was rebuilding and grinding through mixtapes while Jay kept stacking wins and moving like the top boss.
Look, Jay signed his contract. The big one was with Beyonce.
Mm-hmm.
When he signed that contract, the marriage contract, he got trophies. Now those trophies, those trophies came rolling in, but
Jay stayed on his run with major projects like The Blueprint in 2001, and the beef just sat in the background while both of them focused on their own lanes. Then 50 came back around 2002, and the whole game shifted again. He got signed through Eminem and Dr. Dre to Shady Aftermath, and once that machine got behind him, it was curtains for anybody pretending he wasn't a problem. February 2003, Get Rich or Die Tryin' dropped and it exploded, selling 872,000 first week and later going diamond. Into Club and 21 Questions were everywhere. Radio, clubs, cars, even people who didn't listen to rap knew the hooks. And suddenly the question wasn't, is 50 real? It was, who can stop him? And Jay knew that wave was coming. In a 2013 Breakfast Club interview, Jay said he warned his rock artists to flood the market with music before 50 took over. Basically like, you've got a chance right now, put out a lot because 50 is coming. After that, things got weirdly cordial on the surface in 2003. They popped up in the same Reebok commercial, shared big stages like the Rock the Mic tour, and even crossed paths musically here and there. But don't get it twisted. That tension never really disappeared. It just learned how to hide in public. 50 even bragged he was outselling Jay's S. Carter era, like 6-1, his words. But underneath all the numbers, the tension never really went away.
Faster, a gay painter. Your big
Okay.
homie want to look like a gay painter.
What are we talking about here?
We're talking about Basquiat. He wants to look like a gay painter.
And 50 has been blunt about what he thinks is Jay-Z's biggest weakness, avoiding direct confrontation. He claims Jay doesn't handle problems face to face. He puts other people in front, lets the system do the talking, and stays clean while the mess happens around him. That critique spills into Jay's whole image too. 50 once called Jay-Z the coolest punk in hip-hop, which sounds wild, but it's a calculated jab. Like Jay's polished corporate vibe makes him look safe, and in 50's mind, that can weaken street respect. So the message is clear. 50 sees Jay as someone who plays defense with boardrooms, contracts, and connections. Corporate shields instead of direct smoke. Whether that's genius or weakness depends on who you ask. And the rivalry didn't stop at music. It turned into straight business flexing. In 2004, 50 partnered with Vitamin Waters Company and took equity instead of a flat endorsement. When Coca-Cola bought it in 2007 for $4.1 billion, his share reportedly turned into a massive payday. Meanwhile, Jay-Z sold the rights to Rocawear in 2007 for $204 million cash. Also a huge win. But 50 never missed a chance to act like his move was the smarter bag. By 2007, it twisted again when Kanye West's Graduation and 50's Curtis dropped the same day, turning into a massive sales showdown. Kanye won big first week, and 50 claimed Jay-Z was behind the scenes helping Kanye take him out by proxy, and that claim kept the rivalry sizzling. 50 takes it a step further and claims Jay used his Def Jam president role to make sure Kanye had every advantage that day. And that fits right into 50's bigger narrative. Jay moves like a chess player who stays clean while the board gets messy. But lately, 50 has been pushing another angle that hits even closer to home, what he calls the Grammy theory. And this is where the timeline really starts arguing in the comments. Because if you thought the Super Bowl talk was loud, 50's Grammy talk is even louder. In multiple interviews across 2023 and 2024, 50 has claimed Jay-Z's Grammy success, he's got 25 wins, is more connected to his marriage to Beyoncé than pure musical merit. And that idea has fans going crazy on both sides. Now, to keep it fair, Jay actually had 4 Grammy wins before his first collaboration with Beyoncé, not one like 50 has claimed at times. But 50's bigger point is that the wins ramped up heavily after that era, and people online love bringing up the timing. Out of Jay's 25 total wins, most came after 2004, lining up with joint projects and his mogul family man image getting stronger. 50 ties that into what he calls Jay's calculated image shift. Like it's not just music, it's branding, positioning, and knowing how to play the room. And he uses it to drag the Grammys too. Basically saying the awards often reward image over authentic, not necessarily raw impact. He keeps bringing up Tupac Shakur as his go-to example, pointing out Tupac never won a Grammy despite the cultural weight. In 50's mind, that proves the Recording Academy tends to lean towards safer, more polished choices, and he uses that to question how credit gets handed out in hip-hop. And yeah, 50 has 3 Grammys himself, so people say he's salty, but he frames it like he's calling out a system that rewards relationships and optics as much as talent. Then he goes even more personal and starts clowning Jay from every angle, including the wild comparison where he suggests Jay modeled parts of his look after Jean-Michel Basquiat, which is more shade than analysis. But it spreads because it's a meme-ready jab. And it doesn't stop there either. 50 even called Jay's 444 album golf course music, basically saying it felt elite and disconnected from the streets that first made people check for HOV. He's been throwing jokes about Jay's appearance too, with memes claiming he aged fast, and that constant trolling is exactly why this rivalry never fully cools down. The crazy irony here isn't lost on anybody. You've got 2 men who came from nothing, one from Marcy in Brooklyn, the other from Queens, built billion-dollar empires, and in a perfect world, they'd salute each other's hustle. But instead, they've been locked in a Cold War for 25 years that moved from rap bars to business plays to social media shots. And 50's been pretty consistent about how he frames it. He doesn't always act like it's personal. He'll be cordial in public. But he says he hates what he sees as Jay-Z's way of operating, using corporate power to settle scores, hiding behind business structures, and keeping a safe image while the moves happen quietly. That's the difference right there. 50 likes the stage uncomfortable. He likes it loud, direct, and in your face. Like if you step to him, you're gonna feel it immediately. Jay, on the other hand, is painted as silent and calculated, letting lawyers, contracts, and boardroom muscle do the heavy lifting. So yeah, this rivalry isn't going anywhere. As long as 50 has Instagram and Jay has an empire, the shots will keep coming, some slick, some explosive, and hip-hop's longest-running Cold War stays lit. And what makes this moment extra addictive is how all the storylines crash together at once. The Super Bowl talk about gatekeeping, the Grammy theory that pokes at how awards get handed out, the style jokes and image claims, and 2 self-made giants separated more by philosophy than anything else. They're 2 different types of power, the gladiator versus the emperor, the comment section versus the contract clause. And here's the wild part. After all the disses, sales battles, business flexing, and trolling, neither one has actually taken the other out. Both are still standing, both are still winning, and whether they'd admit it or not, they've pushed each other to level up into sharper, more strategic versions of themselves. That's when a rivalry stops being about hate and turns into identity. Each one exists partly in opposition to the other. Now I want to hear from you. Who do you believe more in this situation? 50's Jay as gatekeeping angle, or the idea that this is just 50 doing what he does best and stirring the pot? Drop your take in the comments. Hit like if you want more breakdowns like this, and make sure you're subscribed, because the next chapter in this Cold War could pop off any day now.